So welcome back to another episode, and the Nintendo Switch is doing very, very well, and I'm very happy for its success. I'm very happy for all the video game companies and all their successes over the years. Their success is our success. That means more games, better games. But for me, I'm always still thinking about the games that we haven't got on a particular system. And for me, I started thinking about the Nintendo Switch, about some games that I feel really should be on this machine or announced. There's been no announcements. I made a list when the machine was called the NX, and I was lucky enough, I said, hey, we need another Luigi's Mansion. Come on, we need one on the Switch. Hey, they announced Luigi's Mansion 3, so I'm thrilled about that. That's awesome, and it makes a lot of sense, but some of these games are not on this machine, don't make any sense in the world to me. Hopefully that changes in the future, especially that Metroid Prime has been kind of pushed to a later date. That some other developments and some other games has started to happen on some forgotten series. A lot of these are forgotten series. One forgotten series, hey, it's right here. Earthbound, the Mother series. I love this game as well as most of you out there. This game is a phenomenal game, and they got the Game Boy Advance version of Mother 3 in Japan. We never got that either. We got a fan-translated thing. I had to pick up this version here because I really wanted to play it, and I'm glad that I did. It's weird to me, Nintendo's relationship with the Mother series. I can't ever wrap my head around it. Huge fan base, love it to death. I know it's a bit of a niche series overall, but the fans are so hardcore and the games are so amazing. They are emotional and humorous, and there's a lot going on over there, but it's weird that all of the characters have made their way into Smash Brothers, some in the way of amiibos. We haven't even got this game, but we have the amiibo of it, and we have the character in Smash Brothers. I know that's for the Japanese audience, not for us, I get it. But I think it's time that Nintendo brings the Mother series to the Nintendo Switch. Even if it's a 2D overhead game, they don't have to go full 3D. Even though we know what the game would look like in 3D. We've seen it in Smash Brothers. I remember playing it on the GameCube thinking, oh, this is going to come out on the GameCube. There's going to be a sequel. There's going to be a new Earthbound, and there never has been. And it's really frustrating. I think there's a lot of potential there. There's a great world setting. I think Nintendo just kind of has to put a little bit of development time, and not a lot. Hey, there was even rumors we were supposed to get the third one, and we never got that. I reported that back a bunch of years ago, and it's one of the rumor ones that I was really hoping was going to come true, and it never did. All right, another series that definitely deserves some love and some praise and a revival. I played it over at one of my old friends' places, Trevor, back in the day. We used to skip school and go across the road and play it all the time. And that was FZero, when it originally came out on the Super Nintendo. What a great racing game. I was not expecting big things with it, but it was that Mode 7 graphics going around. I was like, oh my god, this looks incredible. And then we got FZero on the GameCube. And this is where I love this series even more. And it would seem that Nintendo doesn't. I don't get it. I don't know if this was not a big seller for Nintendo. Even in general, racing games, something like the Wipeout series, they do well. I thought they did okay, enough to warrant another FZero. Maybe one is in the works. I know that some game came out a bunch of years ago, and there was a rumor that the company was working on an FZero for Nintendo, and that never materialized. That was really, really frustrating. But this is one game that I would love to see again, especially what they can do with the Nintendo Switch. I know it's not the most optimally powered system known to mankind, but it is powerful. Definitely deserves an FZero. Now, another series that I love from the past. I only rented it back on the N64. I never owned a physical copy of the N64 version, and that was Wave Race. I loved Wave Race, but when it came out in the GameCube, I loved it even more even then. I loved that we were still getting more Wave Races, and this was a great series. This was a big staple for Nintendo. Every time Nintendo launched a machine, you'd always get a Wave Race. It seemed like that. And then after the GameCube, that all seemed to kind of disappear. And I've always been frustrated. I would love to see a revival of things like Pilot Wings and even Wave Race. Bring that back to Nintendo again. Those are such important series for Nintendo. Even if Nintendo doesn't think they are, I think we all think that they are. Okay, this is a bit of a humorous one because there were rumors about this 3 years ago at E3, and I was stupid enough to believe the rumor. So I was so disappointed when E3 came and went, and there was no mention of this. And that is for Startropics, a game from my youth. Me and my friend Andrew used to play it all the time back then. He came over here about 3 years ago. We played it and finished it again and reviewed it on the channel. We had a really great time with it, and it's an RPG action-adventure style of game where you're just a kid exploring an island with your yo-yo, fighting monsters and creatures and native inhabitants of the island. There was something really beautiful about this tropical island, but yet there was aliens involved. Yes, you heard it right. It was this weird kind of mix of genres in there that created something, I think, a little bit fresh and new at the time. And yes, we'll never get it. I'm the first to admit it. Startropics is dead in the water, no pun intended, but I can always have my hopes up, but I know they'll always be crushed when it comes to Startropics. Now, this is just more of a want. We have got this game. We have got pseudo-sequels, spiritual successors, we'll call it. Xenoblade Chronicles. This amazing game here, which came out on the Wii. This was an amazing RPG. The only thing that kind of let it down in my mind was that it was 480i. I was like, oh my god. You know, I was playing other RPGs at the time that were, 1080 that looked really, really amazing. And the game still looked really amazing. And this is a want in the style that I want it to be at a remastered version at 1080p. I would love that. Obviously, we got, the 3DS version, and this is a good version as well. But I'd like to see them go back to this original and remaster it for a whole different generation. I think this is a supremely excellent RPG that didn't get its due. I think a lot of people passed it over, and I think a lot of people are revisiting it now. And I hear this game emulated on PC is phenomenal. Like the max settings for this game, where you turn everything on, it's supposed to blow your mind. And that's wonderful. I haven't experienced that way. I'd like to experience it from Nintendo themselves. On Nintendo Switch, all the stuff is already there, all the coding is done. Just update, some of the graphics here and there, and update the textures. Just bring it to modern day systems. That is something I would really like to see. This next one is an unusual one, and this is one that I'm going to use in the thumbnail because I'm kind of fascinated by it. Back when I was 23 years old, a certain game came out on the Super Nintendo, an RPG. Wow, go figure, I'd be interested in that. But wait, it had Mario in it? And it was by Squaresoft? And that was Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars. I adore this game. I really, really like this game. And it was such an interesting combination of Square at that time and Nintendo coming together, merging their franchises into kind of one. Obviously, the Final Fantasy stuff is just some like boss encounters and things like that. But it was kind of there's a lot more of a darker aesthetic with this game. It's just kind of a strange, unique game into itself. And I'm really happy it was made. And I'm really happy that I still own, this is my original copy I bought all those years ago now. And I know we've gotten the Paper Mario games after that. And I really like those games, and they capture a lot of the roots of the original, this style of game. But I'm kind of, nowadays we got Nintendo and Square Enix working together. We're getting Final Fantasy games on the Nintendo Switch. I really wish they would combine their powers again and create something like this once again. I know I'm just being nostalgic. I am living in the past. I'm the first to admit it. About a certain time, in my past, when I played this game and how important it was and what it was at that time, I would really like to see a Super Mario RPG with Square Enix behind it. Is that far from the truth? Could that be possible? I don't know. it's a wish list game. That's all I can say it really is. Now, there's a lot of games to talk about, but I'm going to end with this one. And this is a game I discovered on the Game Boy Advance. It has a huge history in Japan. Known over there as Famicom Wars. We get it over here as Advance Wars. And I picked this up on the Game Boy Advance back in the day, and oh my god, this was great. I was used to military simulators in the sense of like playing Military Madness back in the day, like an overhead where you move your characters around on a grid and, and fight other enemies and, overpower them with different troops and stuff like that. I love this stuff, even to do with Warsong back in the day, which was Langrisser, I really enjoyed. But Advance Wars was phenomenal, but I guess not that phenomenal because Nintendo has completely forgotten about it and has never gone back to it. And I know there's other companies that are doing their own kind of versions of this style of game, but I want Nintendo to go back to this style of game. Obviously, they're still going with Fire Emblem. I'm very happy that Fire Emblem is alive and doing well in this country, but I would like to see Advance Wars back again. I really enjoyed playing this on my Game Boy. It was so cartoony, and I just love the anime style of everything and the super deformed tanks. I thought there was quite a lot of charm there, and I think it's one of those things that I would love to see Nintendo bring back, that I could play it on the TV or in handheld mode. I mean, seriously, that would be such a fantastic game. Now, these are just a few of the games that I want to pick out. There's another one last one. I'm just going to creep in here and say I was almost out. Every time I think I'm out, they drag me back in. Persona 5. I would also like to see Persona make its way onto the Nintendo Switch. That is something I would really like to see. I know that Persona 5 is a very graphically powered game, but I know that they're going to bring Dragon Quest 11 on here, so just kind of bring it down a little bit. But I think Nintendo Switch owners would love to have a Persona game like that on the Nintendo Switch. Obviously, we're getting the next Shin Megami Tensei game, but until then, I would love to have that on the Nintendo Switch. And okay, I'm out, but I want to know, what are some games that you would love to see revived or on other platforms that you would love to see on the Nintendo Switch? It's such a fun system, playing in handheld mode, playing on the TV, taking on the go. It's wonderful. So there's a lot of games we'd love to see get ported. I want to know yours down below. So anyways, guys, until next time.